Hey Pokemon trainers, Gal here. We are so excited to bring you this special guest episode with our good friend Cell, all the way from the Galar region. However, unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties with our third mic and ended up having to pull some of Cell's audio from our mics, which you'll notice from time to time. But we are still really proud of this episode and hope you love it just as much as we loved recording it for you all. Enjoy!
Welcome back to another episode of Another Pokemon Podcast. My name is Beck.
And my name is Galutrad.
We're going to talk about all of the things that we would like to see change in future games.
Yeah.
And we have a surprise guest with us. Our friend Cell is joining all the way. He came just for this, all the way from London. Say hi.
Hello.
From the Galar region.
Oh, from Galar. My bad. Yeah, we brought a Galarian friend.
We brought a Galarian friend to us.
So Cell is going to be joining us today and giving his opinion about what should change in the games. We'll be giving our opinions about what should change in the games, and it's going to be a really fun episode. Our first guest, speaker. How
do you feel being the first guest?
It's really exciting. I mean, we've been friends for a long time, and so it's nice to do this.
Yeah. Cell's. We've definitely mentioned Cell a couple times, talking about my personal Pokemon journey, and it's gonna be really great. And Cell is also happens to be a super fan of the podcast.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with guests first. We're not doing ladies first today. We're doing guests first. So Cell, how are you? How were your travels?
I'm good. My travels could have been better. I had an Abra that could have teleported me here.
I think that we would probably see each other more often if Pokemon existed.
Wouldn't it be kind of annoying, though, if Abra could only teleport you to, like, the nearest hospital?
No, you could just go... That's not that far from us.
Yeah, but that's what teleport... that's what teleport does in the game. It teleports you to the last Poke Center that you were in.
To you?
Yeah, they teleport you to the last Poke Center that you were in game. Yeah, that's what it used to do. It actually doesn't do anything anymore. Didn't know if y'all knew that. I learned that during Sun and Moon Nuzlocke. Oh. Yeah.
Is it the nearest one or the last one that you went to?
It's the last one that you went to. So
I just go visit a hospital and then fly here.
Yeah.
And then I could teleport back.
Yeah,
that's half the problem.
As long as you don't end up in the hospital while you're here.
And you just don't ever get sick, so that it doesn't mess up the flow.
Perfect.
Right?
Perfect.
Perfect. Excellent. We're doing good things. We're doing good works here. I guess Galutrad, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. This is our first guest episode, and obviously we love Cell, so I'm really excited to talk about our dreams and hopes for future Pokemon games. How about you?
I thank you for asking. That's so sweet of you. I am doing great. I am very happy that Cell is here. I'm very happy that we're recording. We're doing my fun job today, which I love, and really excited to just dive in and talk about like the things that we hope to see in the future for sure. I think this year is going to be a good year to focus on the positive and focus on hopeful things, and I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But before we get started on that, we do have some listener feedback.
We do.
From our other super fans.
Yeah. Do you want me to start?
Yes, I would love that. Feedback? Yes, please.
Awesome. So over on Spotify from Another Hylian Pokenerd, longtime fan of the show, speaking of awesome fans, on the Creepy Pokespooks episode, Another Hylian Pokenerd says, "Yay, more episodes. I was so happy when you read my review and said you liked my name and that you were happy when you read them. It was the best part of my week. In Let's Go Eevee, I was 10 when I got to Lavender Tower Town thing and had weeks of nightmares. I still haven't played that game yet. Darkest Day was my first spooky part in a game, and my first game, I freaked out. Eternatus was so creepy. A Pokemon design I will never unsee is Arceus and Furfrou. Look up an image of them next to each other."
Okay, so I know that we did look this up when we first read.
We did when we first got that comment. Yeah.
But for my need, I'm going to look it up and show it to Cell to refresh all of our memories. But yeah, it's pretty rough.
Furfrou or Arceus both are rocking some ridiculous hair.
Yes.
Imagine like a fusion of those two Pokemon, and it's kind of what you'd think.
Has Pokemon, so Yu-Gi-Oh has totally done fusion, and so has Digimon. Has Pokemon done fusion?
Pokemon has not done fusion.
Well, there you go.
No, hold on. Technically, yeah. There's Ash Greninja. Ash from the anime fuses with his Greninja Pokemon. And you look this up, and it is a legitimate version in the Sun and Moon demo. No, I'm sorry. In the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire demo on the 3DS, for completing that, you could get Ash Greninja.
It was Sun and Moon, and I thought that was just Ash's Greninja. As in, like, it was just a special.
No, yeah,
Greninja.
it's like it is a special Greninja. It's a modified. It has like black parts added to it, and it is a modified version of Greninja, and it is technically a fusion. So I think it counts.
No, I definitely misunderstood that demo present then, because it was on the DS. That's why I know it's Sun and Moon, not Sword and Shield. But I thought that it was on the 3DS. But I thought that it was Ash's, like.
Yes,
Pronunciation apostrophe S.
Yes.
Greninja, not Ash Greninja. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks,
so there is technically
That's
a fusion.
real weird Pokemon.
No Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon though.
So Pokemon, first thing about this episode, number 1, take
Blue Eyes
fusion.
Ultimate Gyarados.
No. We need fusion as the next gimmick, okay? Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Podcast end. Episode over. That's all we need.
Well, thank you, Another Hylian Pokenerd, for your comment. I'm glad that your Arceus and Furfrou led to this conversation about fusions within Pokemon. So thank you so much. Also on Spotify from Lee on our Where in the World episode, Lee just says, I love this podcast. Keep it up. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you. I also love this podcast.
Me too. I have a great time with it every single week.
Also over on Spotify, Jason on our favorite Gym Leaders episode said, my favorite is definitely Pierce because of his aesthetic. There you go. Got you, Charlie.
Yeah.
Another Pierce fan. And he just rocks. Capital letters. Rocks. Great episode. I really liked, I had a good time doing that episode. I feel like we do need to do more like favorite characters.
Yeah, I agree.
I think those are really fun.
Yeah.
And then last but not least for today, over on Apple Podcasts, we got another 5-star review.
Woo!
Yay! Titled Just What I've Been Missing. And it says, great pod. I've been looking for another Pokemon podcast recently since one I used to listen to is no more. And behold, I find another Pokemon podcast.
Perfect.
You guys are perfect together. Love the favorites episodes. Can't wait for every type to be out. Would also love to see more episodes about other favorite things. Oh, there you go. Like gym leader episodes and maybe moves, abilities, or favorite Pokemon of a whole region. Side note on the favorites episode, maybe start with the honorable mentions first to build the hype up for number ones.
And
I'm so sorry. This was a review by Isaac12.
Yeah.
On Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
Surprise, Isaac, because we did incorporate that on our last episode that we recorded, our favorite psychic types episode.
Yeah, which just goes to show that, I mean, we do read y'all's comments all the time.
Yeah.
Ahead of time and love it, and we'll eventually read it here.
And now we know who it is.
Yeah.
That was not a long mystery for us because I was like, I don't
not.
remember who said that, but we did it. So thank you, Isaac, for that feedback. We did incorporate it, and we think it's helped the flow, and we're going to keep that as part of our...
We received feedback from Cell about whether or not we should continue doing it, and Cell voted for it, Isaac, so...
Cell actually said no more favorite types episode ever.
That's right.
Because we keep not picking his favorites.
Yeah. We do get, I think every episode you've reached out to us and have been like, you
Excuse
forgot
me.
this one.
This last time it was Glary and Ponyta, and I admitted that probably should have been an honorable mention instead of my identity crisis over Woobat's eyeball or nose.
Yeah.
So sorry again, Cell.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, Isaac, for that 5-star review. Thank you to everybody that's been commenting and leaving reviews. We really appreciate those. If you would like to share your feedback with us, you of course can do that anywhere on the internet that you can hear my voice, Gal's voice, Cell's voice today. We obviously really, truly appreciate those 5-star reviews, but we also love reading comments on Spotify, X, Blue Sky, anywhere on the internet. You can find us at all of those places at Another PKMN Pod, and we look forward to reading more in the future.
Yeah.
So finally, the suspense is over.
After much ado.
Let's rock and rolla.
Oh, I'm so glad you said it.
Yes, I did. Let's rock and roll it into what we would like to see happen in future Pokemon games. We think this is probably going to be a pretty casual episode. We've not put any strict rules into place. It's just an opinion piece, but we will be letting Cell start us off since he is our guest and talking about what we want to see. So Cell, what do you kick us off? What do you want to see change?
Okay, well, I know that this is an audio medium, of course, but I sent you guys a picture a couple weeks ago and said that it would become relevant.
Yes, of Burmy, I believe,
Yeah,
right?
and I just want to see, do you know why that would be relevant?
Well, if I had to guess, either it could be the male versus female forms or the how you find Burmy in most games, maybe, which is like in the trees.
So do you maybe think that Burmy specifically could be special in some way?
Oh, is it shiny?
That's a good question.
Okay, I know where you're going with this now. I think another good example would maybe be like Garchomp or Slowpoke.
That would be a great example, yeah. So yeah, I would love to see a change to shinies in the future where you maybe bring a new version of the shiny to the game that kind of can fix older generations with shinies that don't stand out much.
I love that idea.
That's a great idea because this is a good example of that. But I'm actually a little shocked at how new this Pokemon is because I know that older generations of Pokemon, a lot of those tend to be just very mildly different.
Yeah.
That's a great example because like for those of you who don't know, Burmy's shiny. Burmy the bagworm Pokemon, I think. Its shiny turns its like weird kind of grayish colored body slightly blue tinted. Just very slightly.
I'm very put off by bagworm.
So, okay. So what would do you have like some examples? Because there's definitely like Gengar is one that could use a new shiny. But then there's been examples of Pokemon changing shinies. Charizard famously used to be a purple and green shiny, and now it's a black and kind of red colored.
I feel like anything that's more earth toned tends to be just muted when it's a shiny, which is like, thanks.
And then you have everything in Gen 1, which just turned pink.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I was going to say they pink, blue, and green, they favor a lot for shiny versions. What do you think about like, how do you recommend, do you have like an overall recommendation of how they might fix it, or just like looking at it, each Pokemon individually and aesthetically changing the shiny itself if need be?
Well, one thing I had thought about with this is instead of changing the shiny altogether, you could have the current shinies available at the regular 40.96 odds and then have an improved shiny at the 81.92, the original odds. And so one that I had thought about specifically is Leafeon and how it goes from green to also green. And one of the versions of it that I've seen a lot in some ROM hacks and things like that is an autumn version. So you get a Leafeon that's more of an orange.
That would be awesome. I'm thinking like Sudowoodo has the pom-pom parts turn like a reddish orange color.
Yeah.
I've always been someone who thinks that they should either reference back to a color of a previous generation or previous evolution. Like, for instance, Dragonite is a great example because it's orange, turns green, but it could turn blue like Dragonair and Dratini, and then have Dratini and Dragonair turn orange when they're shiny.
Yeah.
But then also I kind of think that the potential to just like flip the color palette to whatever its pure color opposite would be interesting too.
And is this like an aesthetic wish for you, or is this truly like, when you're shiny hunting, because we have an overworld now, like, do you want it to be more obvious in the overworld? Like, where is this kind of want coming from? Because I think we all agree it would be great.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering.
Yeah, it's a bit of both for that.
Yeah.
I know, especially in Scarlet and Violet, I find it very difficult to tell some of the shinies, and I'm sure I've passed over tons of them.
Yeah.
And so it would be helpful to have a shiny that stands out a bit. But at the same time, if you do it at the different odds, then you have a rarer version where, you get complaints these days that it's too hard to find or it's too easy to find shinies.
Mm-hmm.
So then it becomes more prestigious to have the one at the higher odds.
And I feel like, because I know they implemented marks for kind of this, or like marks and ribbons in the past for kind of the same, giving your Pokemon a more uniqueness to it, that it's your Pokemon. But I think the color palette change and having a different odds versions with that, you'd have to be able to turn stuff like the shiny charm off and on, which would be good. I'm always a fan of turning settings off and on within the game. So yeah, no, I love that idea.
Well, you also already had something like this in Sword and Shield with the different sparkles when a shiny came out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had one that had stars or squares or something that was much rarer than the regular shiny.
I also I'm kind of a fan of Pokemon that have gender differences. I think it's really cute that Pikachu, for instance, the female Pikachus have the heart-shaped tail, the male Pikachus have the lightning bolt. Then we've got major differences like the Litleo family, where the male lion has a mane and the female lion just has kind of a long flowing hair on its head. So I also like that, but it's if you can pay that much detail to those Pokemon, you should be able to, it should bare minimum color palette changing. You should be able to change the color palettes of them.
Yeah, not to stay on this topic for too much longer, but I do wonder who decides the shiny palette for each Pokemon?
Yeah, is it the people that designed the Pokemon?
Or is it just this color always gets changed to this sort of situation?
So I've heard these days that it is done by the artist that designs the Pokemon, but I don't know that this is completely true. But what I've always heard for Gen 1 is that the Pokemon moved from the color on the game that it was to the next color in the palette, which is why so many Pokemon turned to pink, because they were originally blue and pink was the next one in the palette that they used to code the games.
Oh, interesting.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Very cool.
That is very cool.
Sel, do you remember when I was playing Gold on my Nintendo 64 using the Game Boy cartridge forever ago?
Yeah.
That was the first shiny. I didn't think shiny Pokemon existed until later gens because I just had never encountered one because they were so rare.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I caught a shiny on Old Generation, and I caught this yellow Caterpie, and it did the the stars around it, and I was I texted Sel and I was like, "Hey, I think I just got a shiny Caterpie in Gold. Is that real?"
Yeah.
And it was crazy because I genuinely thought that was a new thing. I didn't know it went all the way back to the Game Boy. So very cool.
Another one to look at real quick is Sneasel in Gen 2. In the original games, I know this specifically for Gold and Silver. I'm not sure about Crystal if they changed it again, but it was brown-bodied with a blue, because of the colors they had to work with, with blue accents. And so when they moved to later generations and it went back to the original coloring, the dark blue with the pink, I think it would be cool to bring the brown and blue back.
Yeah.
That
would be cool.
Yeah, that would be. I actually totally forgot that's what I'm so used to, the dark blue and
color.
pink.
Yeah. Very
That's
cool.
what it used to look like. Very cool. Well, that's a great way to start.
Yeah.
And
heck yeah, it is.
Heck yeah, it is. And it can't go wrong starting with shinies.
Pikachu it is.
In that,
I'm done.
Okay. In that vein, I personally would love, for technical reasons, for gameplay reasons, for I'm a JRPG fan and just enjoy these weirdly, I kind of want random encounters back.
You don't want overworld Pokemon?
Well, so here's the thing. They did overworld Pokemon right in Legends Arceus, especially with the shinies, because it would make that bring noise.
And the alphas
and
were
the
cool.
alphas were cool.
Scary
But
cool.
then they reverted back to not having that, and you have to get into or you wouldn't have to get into a battle, but you could just run past one and not know. And so if they're not going to be able to do it well, I'd rather just have random encounters, because I think that anticipation of what am I running into, what is this going to be, is really exciting.
So as someone that normally has her volume all the way down
yes,
on the games,
yeah,
The Legends Arceus, it makes a noise to alert you there's a
It
shiny
does.
near you.
Yes.
Well, when I replay that game, I will have my volume on.
Yeah, and I think if you go about it, you could design the world in such a way that like you're walking through a forest or a wooded path, and you see like Mankey or Caterpie in the trees, but you can't catch those. But those, it's like showing you what you could run into in that area on that route.
Well, Sword and Shield had that.
They did. Yeah, they kind of had a mixture of both, where you had some overworld and some or still random encounters.
I'm not saying that's a hot take. I just don't want to spoil my bullet that's next, but I just want them to fix the bugs. If I guess is what I'm saying is, if the game cannot run smoothly with overworld Pokemon, let's do random encounters again.
Yeah.
Because I think I don't know if that's part of the reason why it graphically glitches all the time in Scarlet and Violet, but if that's what's causing it, I agree with you. But I don't think we agree on for the same reason.
No, yeah, because
Yeah.
for me, that's a huge win, I think, to not have to worry about those graphical glitches.
Yeah.
But it very much for me is like,
It's just fun for
I'm a
you.
JRPG fan. I like random encounters. I like having the little quick battle intro and then being like, oh, who's that Pokemon? And then there it is. So that's just part of the hunt for me of wanting to find certain Pokemon.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I respect it. Like I said, I don't necessarily. I mean, Sal, you seem to agree that would be cool. I don't necessarily think it's a bad take. I just was like, that's not why I would want it.
Mm-hmm.
I would want it. I'm good with them being in the overworld, but if it's going to keep breaking the game, then
Yeah, I like a mix of both.
like in Sword and Shield.
Yeah, like Sword and Shield, or even kind of like, I don't remember who said it, but just having Pokemon in the environment as they would actually be, and then also having Pokemon as random encounters in the tall grass.
Yeah, I think there's a graceful way to do it to please both audiences. And I'd like for them to move towards that rather than making a decision of only random encounters or only overworld Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because I'm always about options. So
Yeah.
It would also be kind of cool to, when you enter a route with tall grass in it, have the sound, the shiny sound.
yeah,
And there's something in the grass that you would then have to find.
that would be very cool.
But is the grass like, is it are they all rustling still, like how they did when, because it didn't rustle in the first few gens, because I was actually confused when I started playing Fire Red because there wasn't rustling, and I was like, how am I supposed to know where the Pokemon is? Well, you're not dumb. That's how it was before. Go back. You're old enough to know better. Like, do it. But I did like when they started incorporating that. When they started incorporating like little rustles here and there from the grass. So is that like what we're looking for? Is it truly just you're walking through grass and then there's suddenly a Pokemon battle?
I think maybe a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think rustling could be the sign of like shiny. They had in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, they had help me out here, the Dex Nav, that you could like hunt for a specific Pokemon, and the more you ran into it, the better it got as far as like IVs and nature and abilities and things like that. So I think they could kind of show off a little bit of both there.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Cool. I love that. Well, I guess, since I already brought it up, bugs.
Yeah.
Not the type. The glitches in the game.
Yeah.
I think we and Galutrad and I have talked about this. I don't remember if we talked about it on the cast or offline, but we see so many beautiful Nintendo Switch games, and Scarlet and Violet was so fun, but it still feels like it's not. Like, comparing it to Tears of the Kingdom is an insanity, truly, because saying it's because of the Nintendo Switch's power is not an excuse, and we're about to have the Switch 2, so that should be even more powerful. So then it really won't be an excuse, and so it's just like when will we get an open world Pokemon game that runs well? And the answer is I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe not. And I'm excited to see the new Legends game and see if it,
Yeah, we
how
get
it
to
runs,
we'll
because
get to
I liked Arceus a lot.
we should know more about it. There might be a bonus episode available right now for people to go listen to, depending on what we found out on Pokemon Day.
Pokemon Day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But I don't know if you guys feel the same. I don't know, like it's like Scarlet and Violet wasn't so buggy that I couldn't play it. Mm-hmm. But it just was it could have been better, and I feel like it's just doing the series a disservice to be so glitchy still.
Yeah.
Because Sword and Shield was glitchy too.
I think I had better luck than most with glitches, especially in Scarlet and Violet. But yeah, I definitely agree that when you have games like Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch, there's no reason that Pokemon shouldn't be making better games.
Yeah.
And to play devil's advocate in this, because I absolutely agree. Like, I would rather, the common Nintendo fan quote to reference is Miyamoto saying a bad game is, or a delayed game is eventually good. A bad game is bad forever. Which is not the case anymore because updates and things like that, it can happen, patches. But I do understand that Pokemon, being the world's largest and most successful media franchise, has a clock to stay to, and like what sells the cards and the plushes and the things. The new game is what gets people familiar with these new Pokemon, and then they can turn around and sell merch for that. And so they are on a time crunch, and delaying that machine is probably impossible, I would wager.
Yeah.
But I think that it's what isn't impossible is for them to take that into consideration and say, okay, rather than delay it because we're not far enough, let's just give ourselves more time.
Or even like, I kind of feel the same way about this that I feel about the random encounters. If we can't do open world, close it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Arceus loading into different regions. I'm sure that's not what everybody was hoping for, but like I also feel like some of the mechanics on the riding Pokemon, Miraidon and Koraidon in Scarlet and Violet, and then the rideable Pokemon in Arceus, there's definitely some clunky mechanics when it comes to like climbing things and jumping and doing different stuff. So like even that isn't as smooth as what I feel like it could be given the level that Pokemon Company is at.
Yeah.
So just make it less. I don't have to climb a mountain to enjoy a Pokemon game, and I know that because I just went back and played Fire Red and had the time of my life.
Yeah.
I think what I'm kind of getting from that is they should perfect the basics before going to gimmicks.
Yes. Yeah.
1,000%.
Absolutely.
Which is a good segue.
Yeah.
Really quick, if I may, because it's not. I think it's just a quick ad. Is like, yeah, going and maybe even going back to basics a little bit of like. I have accepted angrily, upsettily. Is that a word?
Upsettily? I don't think so.
I've accepted gimmicks are gonna gimmick, and like I'm cool with that. But like I have a bullet here above bugs, which is like just go back to some of the things that make Pokemon what it is. Like I feel like it's overcomplicated itself since Sun and Moon, which has caused it to be it's caused it to be a little overwhelming, in my opinion. And the more gimmicky and the more overwhelming it is, the longer the intros are, it's more of like a playable instruction manual, and I don't enjoy that aspect of newer Pokemon games.
Yeah, from a competitive standpoint, I've heard a lot that the Terra types, the being able to change your Pokemon's type, is really, really good for competitive Pokemon. And so I wouldn't mind if they just continue on with that and give us more games with Terra type as the quote unquote gimmick of the battling. And I am excited to see what they do with Legends ZA, because it's supposedly, based off of the one little trailer that we've got, gonna return to Mega Evolutions, which we are familiar with. But I would so much rather them, if they have to have some sort of unique mechanic, them stick with something that they've done before that we already know and understand, and that way they can continue to flesh that out versus trying to shove something new into it.
Maybe a hot take, but I've never been a huge fan of the gimmicks. So
No, not a hot take in my chair. It's a hot take, maybe in Galutrad's chair.
I'm not anti-gimmick, but I want them to get their basics down. So I want them not to have a focus on a gimmick. More specifically, I am anti giving us something and then taking it away with the next game.
Yeah, that's true. Like, we don't have Mega Evolutions anymore. We don't have Gigantamaxing
And Dynamaxing anymore. We don't have the Z Crystals anymore, which that's kind of like the worst one, I think, of all of them.
I don't even remember what that is.
It's from Sun and Moon,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's basically just a one-time extra powerful move.
That's Cell's favorite game.
Alphas, yeah, from Legends Arceus. So
Yep.
I will say, I think terrestrializing is the least egregious of the gimmicks, and if you wanted to keep that going forward, I think that would be fine.
Yeah.
yeah, because it's something that we all understand in Pokemon. It is changing the type, and we know how type matchups work. So as long as it stays the way it is, and you go, oh, that Pokemon
And
is
it-
now Bug, so
it
it's
makes
weak to
them-
this.
It makes them pretty.
It does make them pretty. It gives them little.
Yeah, they look like little Christmas ornaments.
Yeah,
when
they do.
When they do that, yeah, that's really funny. Like I said, I think it's just, we said it. We'd like them to get their basics down, and I think it sounds like we're all in agreement on that for sure.
So kind of like we were talking about, going back to basics, I think it's very important that the entire Pokedex should be accessible.
So we're on the Pokedex. Y'all two are on the Pokedex. Everything needs to be accessible.
Completionistness, yeah.
I don't think everything has to be available in one game.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. But I think everything should be available in home.
I'm glad that you say that, because I will say, like, I do not, even though people argue that it can be a money grubbing tactic to have two games. If there weren't two games, I would not have to be like, hey, you get this game, we'll get this game, we'll figure this out, and then we'll trade. And that's how we'll that's the whole point of Pokemon, is to build friendships. And that's gone, then what's the point?
Yeah, no. I love the idea of having to trade with friends to get Pokemon. I could even see a world where, kind of in the vein of Pokemon Go, you have to trade with people from other regions to get different Pokemon, even on the Switch. And I'm totally cool with that. But the fact that you can't, without hacking, you cannot make a living dex in home currently. I just think what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. The literal catchphrase of Pokemon is gotta catch 'em all. And how are we supposed to catch 'em all if we can't catch 'em all?
There's a whole crowd of people who have been wanting, like, shiny Victini to be available, and
Yeah.
so I'm gonna upset my two co-hosts for this episode, because my actual, like, it's not my favorite game, because I haven't
Why
even
you look so
beaten it
nervous?
yet,
Why you
because
dancing?
I'm in the corner in this room and y'all are able to attack me, and it probably will be super effective. I really like what Black and White did with having only the brand new Pokemon available until post game. Can that exist in y'all's world of the entire Pokedex is available?
Yeah, again, I'm totally cool with that. I have no problem with a limited Pokedex in the games. All I care about is home.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Are you just being sassy?
No,
or
you know why?
why?
Because Espeon is a Gen 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, but we just had this conversation about why I
know.
love Nuzlocke, and because it forces you to use
I know,
Pokemon that you
and
might not ever use.
I have, because of you, I have adapted a policy of trying to have new Pokemon on my team, mostly. Espeon is the exception to my rule. But also, I don't have this on my list, so I'm not going to, this is not something I hope for. It's just something that, okay, it is something I hope for, but it's not, whatever. I would love it if we could have a game where we could pick any starter Pokemon that we wanted.
You and I are on the same wavelength, because what if you could pick, do you mean any starter Pokemon as in, like, your first partner Pokemon is any of the Pokemon?
Yeah, I think that would be sick.
Or just only the ones that have been starters in the past?
Oh.
I think any Pokemon. I'm just making sure that that's what you're thinking.
I meant,
if I want to start with a Gibble.
No,
you're thinking just the starter Pokemon?
I was thinking just the starters.
Okay, well,
if I want Chikorita.
You could do that and have tiers of Pokemon that kind of act as a difficulty setting.
That would be brilliant to say, okay, I want to play hard mode, so I'm going to start with a pseudo legendary Pokemon, but now everything is amped up to a higher level. The first gym is level 20 instead of like 5 to 10 like it usually is.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I guess I'm being a jerk, but this is my problem. This is my biggest problem with that is you know this, I chronically do not finish games.
Yeah.
Consistently don't finish games. I'm just now finishing. Well, I shouldn't say that, I guess, until I do.
No, because you haven't finished it. The gate is open for you to go finish it.
I'm just now working on finishing Tears of the Kingdom, and it is now what, 2 years old, and I'm just now starting the second DLC in Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah.
So, and I just now beat the mainline game, like we
Yes.
talked about that last episode. So, for me, waiting until post game to let me catch the rest of the decks, it's just not going to happen.
Would that not be an incentive to go
No.
and finish? Okay, well.
It would be for Cell.
Yeah.
Because Cell is a completionist and he is dedicated. And when he wants to do something, he does it. I go, yeah, I want to do that too. And then as soon as I start grinding and looking, I'm like, no, I hate this. I'm done. So it's like, it just depends on the type of player you are. But I do like catching them all.
Yeah.
But I don't want to keep playing a game if there's no story or goal or other goals other than that.
I was going to say that if you're going to lock the additional Pokemon to the post game, you have to have a post game.
Yeah, like Arceus is perfect too. Arceus did so good with their side quests. Like I think that would be enough for me to want to keep going
with a lock.
With like side quests, because it's like then the goal is not just grinding at that point. The goal is completing side quests too.
Okay.
So like that could be a thing too. But like I was so frustrated trying to finish that Kitakami Dex.
Yeah.
And I did it, but I was not pleased.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But I did it because there was a goal. There was a girl in the game that said, I need you to finish this before I can talk to you. And I was like, well, dang, what does she want to tell me? And so I did it.
the carrot on the stick
Yeah.
needs to be there.
Yeah. So I half agree with you. You can come out of your corner. You don't have to. You've been quivering this entire time. You can come back out.
In regards to side quests, because that is something that I want to see. We've talked about it. I forget in what episode, but I think in the Creepy Pokespooks episode, I talked about the girl that wants you to go talk to her friend Paul, I think is his name, if I can remember correctly. And he is in Bologna town, and he's like a fully grown adult, but the girl is like a little kid, and we find out that the girl actually passed away. That is technically a side quest, but it is not in name a side quest. It is not a thing that gets put on a list for you to check and finish. So you're wanting specifically checkmarked, like in Arceus, boxes that you can tick to say, I have done this.
Because of how my brain works, I would prefer that for organizational purposes, but no, it can be organic side quests too.
Okay. Maybe. Okay.
Just something to motivate me,
Yeah, that's fair.
I think is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Motivate me, Pokemon.
Okay, well, so another thing that I want to implement, and we talked about this in the car a little bit, the three of us, is that I would love, again, I've said it several times on this episode, I am all for having settings, toggles to turn on and off for difficulty, for experience gain, for item usage. So I would love a Nuzlocke mode. I think that this is a fan community thing that Pokemon should fully embrace. I've heard there are tales out there from people that have worked for the company that have said that they're actually not a fan of it. And then there's also like official documentation saying that they don't care about it and that it's just a thing that the fans do. But I'd like for them to fully embrace it and introduce a Nuzlocke mode where when your Pokemon faints, it is removed from your party and with editable options, with different settings. I personally, when I do a Nuzlocke, I have a no duplicates clause so that I don't end up with 6 Rattatas on my team. So like I would love to be able to toggle on difficulty options that not just for increased levels or maybe something like not having gym leaders be monotype, just that sort of thing. Anything that would allow me to change or increase or decrease the difficulty of a Pokemon game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Looking at the history of Pokemon, I mean, the big groups of fans that I can think of off the top of my head tend to be like Shiny Hunters, PvP, and
Nuzlockers.
Nuzlockers, thank you. Tend to be those three, and I feel like they've done a lot to make things more interesting for Shiny Hunters and by bringing the odds down and things like that. They've done a lot for PvP, but nothing for Nuzlockers. That's still something you have to do all on your own.
Mm-hmm.
What's a PvP?
Competitive, player versus
okay.
player.
Okay.
Yeah.
I support you guys in this decision, this journey. I would never use that setting.
And that's okay. That's why toggles are so important.
Yeah.
I give you a great example. In Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you cannot turn set battle mode on. That has been a thing in every other game previous to Scarlet and Violet. And now you have to have switch battle mode, which all that means is that whenever I knock out an opponent's Pokemon, a little text box comes up that says, they're sending out this Pokemon. Do you want to switch? Yes or no? And I say no every time, but it's annoying to have to say no every time and not just let it flow. It decreases the pace of my battles.
So I guess I'm not familiar with this either. So set battle means that your Pokemon stays out unless you decide that you want to switch.
I have to spend a turn to switch my Pokemon out.
You don't get the free switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't that bad that you don't get your free switch?
Well, but it's a difficulty option. I run Pokemon with moves like U-turn or the electric one that I can't remember the name of right now.
Charge Volt switch.
Volt switch, yes. Where it's like I can deal damage and also switch out my Pokemon so that I'm not just wasting a move. But like that's something that that's a way of thinking about the battles that makes it more interesting for me as a player. So I like to play with set mode on.
Okay. That's fair. I think I'm just not. I mean, we talked about this in the car. I like games.
Yeah.
I don't feel the need to make them harder than they already are. And that's on any game. That's not just Pokemon. I guess if I had to make my life more difficult, Pokemon would be the one to do it on because it's not an action-based battle game that involves like hand-eye coordination or something.
I would almost like to see that as a specific challenge mode within the game where you can have your normal save file, but maybe you get a special bonus for doing, a section of the game as a Nuzlocke.
I mean, yeah, because I would wager that people who are interested in doing that would also be interested in like having Pokemon with the best IVs and natures. And so being able to easily access that stuff or maybe earlier access to that information would be beneficial for those people. So I could see it as a thing that we could do within.
And that would be I guess that goes back to like what motivates you, because that would maybe motivate me to at least try it. Because like just you telling me this is going to make your life harder and that's more fun for some people, that's not fun to me. Yeah. But if I had like you get a special item or something. I don't know what that would be, what it would look like, but like that might motivate me to try it.
Beat challenge mode and you get a shiny Mew,
yeah.
Or a mythical Pokemon or
And that's still a maybe because like I play games all the time where like you have to beat a mini game to do this, and I play the mini game once. I'm like, this is dumb. I'm not doing this again. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, but I think that's cool though. I think it should be an option for people that want it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Options, always the way to go. I do not want to see settings added that cannot be changed.
Yeah.
Like the toggle is a must-have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you lost your set battle.
I am too. It really slows things down.
Yeah.
And often because I'm sitting there spamming the A button to get past the text of like, this Pokemon was knocked out, I accidentally hit switch and then get brought up to my Pokemon team menu and then have to back out of that and then hit no and then move on with the battle. So it's a little frustrating. Minor frustration, but would love to have it come back.
Did you know that spamming the A button makes your Pokemon battle better?
And it makes you more likely to catch with a Pokemon.
I thought that was holding the B button. Is that not what y'all do? You spam the A button to catch a Pokemon? No, you got to hold the B button to catch a Pokemon.
It's always worked for me.
Just so everyone knows, Galutrad literally will just start cackling from like a dark corner of a room because he can hear me click, 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 clicking because this is what I've always done since I was a little kid.
Yep.
But anyway.
All right.
Actually, I think I always hit the shoulder buttons.
No, no way. You
Yeah,
brought your Switch, and if I hear those shoulder buttons clicking, I'm going to yell.
The shoulder buttons in Fire Red, though, I don't know if you remember this, but they bring up the instruction manual.
No, I do remember because that's why it became a problem.
So it's awful.
Oh, no.
Well, on that note, shoulder buttons and all, I think it's time that we have some cake, guys.
We're not eating cake.
We
I
have
actually
cookie
have
cake.
cookie cake.
We do have cookie cake
Yeah.
because it was Galutrad's birthday recently. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we could have some cookie cake.
I got brownies, but I'm eating them all.
Yeah, no sharing. Guess
No brownie
guests
points
don't
for
share.
us.
But yeah, we will. We're gonna go eat our metaphorical cake, and we'll be back to talk about more
Stuff
hopes
we
and
want to see in
dreams,
Pokemon.
and wishes and dreams and hopes and
All
stuff.
right.
Okay.
See you after break.
I guess welcome back.
Welcome back.
Okay, so seriously, welcome back. You're not gonna say welcome back.
Welcome back. Thank you for welcoming me back.
Yeah, welcome back.
And also all of our listeners.
Indeed. Who enjoyed their cake,
who
hopefully.
who enjoyed their cake. I know that we enjoyed our cake.
I enjoyed a salad.
Yeah.
That almost took me out, but didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So we're good there.
We had quiche, we had salad, we had ramen, we had a variety of things that were
We
not
did.
cake.
No.
I shouldn't have eaten all the brownies.
Well, that's a lesson learned, much like the lessons that we've learned from Pokemon and helped us come to our conclusion of what would be better in Pokemon.
Bold of you to assume I learned that lesson.
So anyway, while we were on break, I didn't, but Galutrad and Cell were bonding over Stardew Valley.
Yes.
Which is a great life sim game. And it, I think, is a great segue into one of my most fondest wishes ever for any Pokemon game is to, for any Pokemon.
For Pokemon the series, because you've taken
One of my fondest wishes for
Yeah.
Pokemon the series, yes.
You've taken this from how do I improve the game to how do I improve?
How do you just give me
How
what
do
I
you
want?
just give me what I
Yeah.
want?
And the answer is I really would love, and I will say this is a little bit inspired by Let's Go and the simplicity of Let's Go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Cell and I have been dying for a Let's Go Johto.
Yes.
Yes, for a long time. And I think you feel the same way, that it'd be nice to have those simple games. But like, why not step it up a little bit more and just give me a cozy Pokemon game? And I don't mean Pokemon Cafe. I mean a life sim.
Pokemon Dew Valley,
Yeah.
Rune Factory 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, give me Rune Factory with Pokemon, or give me Harvest Moon and I have little Pokemon helping me on my farm.
They gave you Pokemon Moon.
I'm going to pretend that I didn't hear that because that's not what I want. I don't want Tapu Koko and the islands. I want to farm, and I want Eevee to help me pick up my watering pail.
So within the games, they have concepts like berries, and that kind of, that's not quite farming because it's something that is really only useful to just get more berries. So there's not like a whole lot of customizable farm sim style to it. But you're wanting a complete spin-off new game and not just like mechanics put into a Pokemon game?
I would not complain about cozy mechanics being added to a game. Like, think about like in Gen 3 when you got your hidden base, how fun it was to decorate your little base
Yeah.
and add your furniture and stuff. Like, I love Animal Crossing. I love those types of games. I think it would be really fun. And not even like where you play as a Pokemon, because we've done that, right? We've got Pokemon Rangers. You can still have me be a trainer, but I would just be more like it'd be a calmer version where you could battle other Pokemon if you wanted to, and you could do any of the other things that you do in Pokemon, but like in addition to that, like you have those cozy elements. Like I would be fine either way, really. I really enjoy cozy games, and I think Pokemon would be a great like franchise to have a cozy game.
Sel, what do you think? You're new initiate to Stardew Valley, but I don't know what your cozy game history is like. So where do you stand on this?
Yeah, the thing I first thought of with that is in Legends Arceus, where you can leave your Pokemon at the farm that's in Jubilife Village. And so I could see a version of that where you could plant the berries that you get and build a farm within that village. I think that would be really cool.
And they've kind of like, now that I've said this out loud, I guess they've kind of done a cozy game, because we've got Hey You Pikachu, we've got Pokemon TV, but those
are old.
Frankly, those are very old. And also, I like Pokemon TV for nostalgic reasons, but I recognize that it is a boring game.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot going on.
I guess so. In trying to spin this in a way that is like sticking in I know there's no rules on how we were saying this, but like thinking about it on the sense of how, because we've kind of been intertwining a lot of our ideas together. And I think that would allow for our previous idea of like a return to basics, really, really give yourself time to work on and perfect the game that you are building. The mainline game is to have more spin-off options in between years of mainline Pokemon games, so that you don't necessarily have to, you can try out all the weird and wacky things that you want in those, and then kind of keep the mainline games more core mechanic, really put a good story in it, and tell like a really good tale of growth and things like that, but then not have to worry about having all those side mechanics.
They could totally take a leaf out of Zelda's book.
I very much wanted to have, like, Pokemon contests were a thing and they went away, and I would love to have that be more fleshed out, but I don't know if I would necessarily need that within my mainline game. I think more things to do in the mainline games are good, but I think if they perfect those mechanics in its own spin-off game and then bring like the best parts of that to a mainline game, I think that would kind of suffice.
Well, and that's when you play life sim games, I think that's the beauty of those games, is if you don't like fishing, unless there's some side quest you're trying to complete, you don't have to fish. If you don't like mining, I rarely do, you don't have to mine. If you don't like farming, you typically in modern life sim games don't have to farm. Like I know you definitely did in the original games, like Harvest Moon for the SNES and stuff like that. But yes, bring if I want to do a beauty competition, let me go do that. Like I just think it'd be really cool to have that variety, while also not having like I have to be the champion pressure. Like you can be the champion if you want to be, but you can also not.
Yeah, I think there's a really neat thing to explore, you know, all the other people that exist in the Pokemon world and what do they do on a day-to-day basis.
And if a cozy Pokemon game gets mentioned on Pokemon Day, you're welcome, because I did that all by myself just now.
Okay.
Well, that kind of brings me to the next recommendation that I was going to make, which is I would love to see diverging ways of becoming a Pokemon master in the main games. So I would love to see a path that you could take where completing the Pokedex is what takes you to the top versus having to always battle the gym leaders and the Elite Four. And so I could see a world where there's a scientist path where you know...
Or like a professor path.
Right, a professor path where you do more like a Legends Arceus thing where you're investigating the Pokemon and completing the Pokedex and all that. And then you have the champion path where you are, fighting all the trainers and the gym leaders and Elite Four and all that. And then even another path where you have that story with, whatever the team of evildoers is, where you defeat them to become the master, the Pokemon master.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. I am a big fan of that idea. I think, there's kind of what you were talking about earlier, Bex, is like they kind of muddle up all the different mechanics that are within a Pokemon game. And I think fleshing those out into being something that you could pursue as your way of completing the Pokemon game. And that's, if I remember correctly, that's kind of what spawned this idea for this episode, was us talking about how in Scarlet and Violet, there were like the 3 different paths that were not necessarily, I mean, they were all battle focused, but like Because originally, you know, a little behind, what's the behind closed doors?
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. What's the baseball analogy? It doesn't matter. Originally, we were thinking about doing like a Pokemon Go episode because Cell is really into Pokemon Go, much more than both of. We try to play here, but we're not like as into it.
Nobody wants to listen to me monologue about Pokemon Go.
And then we also talked about, because you suggested favorite dark types as an episode, and then somewhere along the way we just started talking about changes we wanted in Pokemon, and that's kind of what led us to this. So I think that's a great idea that you brought that to the table of give us different options to be a Pokemon master.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, like, I had a small bullet of like character customization was starting to be stronger, and then it got weaker with Scarlet and Violet. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, everybody loves to make a customized, well, maybe I shouldn't say everybody. A lot of people enjoy making a customized avatar. That's why on like super intense RPG games where they have crazy customizations, people spend sometimes longer customizing their character than they do playing that first day. I know I did for like Baldur's Gate 3, for example. And it's like, we're not asking for that. It's a Pokemon game. But, well, I mean, if you want to give that to me, that's fine. But what I would like to see is like, let me customize my character more. Let me make it either more like me, or at least more like what I want it to look like. Let me carve my own path. Just give us versatility, I think, is like the common ground here of those asks, and something that for some reason Pokemon like tests out in certain ways, like the hidden bases and other stuff, and then it's just like the gimmick type thing. They just take it back, and it's like, no, dude, you can't give me something. You can't let me basically make a Pokemon trainer look exactly how I want them to, and then make me have these awful school uniforms that I can't change out of, that I can't do anything with. And that's maybe a hot take. I don't know if everyone else hates the uniforms like I do, but like it's limiting is what it is.
It is weird throughout the history of Pokemon how we've gotten pieces of that, the character customization in different games, and even most recently I would say is Legends Arceus, which was pretty good. Could have been better, but pretty good, especially when compared to Scarlet and Violet, where they basically took it away, like you said.
Yeah, and like we have, like you slowly, I think you get like a teal card and some other
with the
stuff
DLC,
with the DLC.
they introduced new outfits but it was a all-in-one outfit, clothing, pants, shirt,
and,
like it was all together. You couldn't change those. And
I want to recognize that Pokemon in general has tried to bring more inclusivity to the options, like the skin colors, for example, are a little bit better and more. The hairstyles are a little bit better, more like there's more textured hairstyles and less textured hairstyles, and shorter hairstyles and curlier hairstyles. But again, it goes back to it's a huge company. Like they have the ability to expand.
Yeah, and
should.
I don't want to play devil's advocate for this, because I also agree that customization needs to stay like wholeheartedly. I do on some level understand why they don't allow like Baldur's Gate. And you mentioned this, like you don't need that. But I would wager that the reason they don't is because like the range of audience that they're hitting are people like our nephews, age groups of our nephews, to us, to even older than us in some cases. And so I feel like that level of customization introduces interesting...
No. Not to, I think widening the face and
it's a little too much.
Raising and lowering the nose is a lot anyway. Like that was overwhelming on the Wii, making your little Miis. But like absolutely, like let me have some more customization.
What clothing am I wearing? What hairstyle do I have? What color is my hairstyle?
Like a good example is, I don't know if you do this, but like Galutrad and I, for whatever reason, like our avatars to look like us as much as we can. But we like them to look like us, but in Scarlet and Violet we're so limited that Galutrad and I have the same hairstyle.
And we do not in real life.
Right. Yeah.
But it's the one that was just happened to be closest to his and closest to mine were the same. And it's like that. Like that should have been, like there were barely any long hairstyles, it felt like, for you. So it's like just little things like that I feel like are super easy fixes that just, I don't know, they just stop doing as much.
Yeah, I agree. pretty much the same thing. I was able to, like I said, in Arceus to do a hairstyle similar to what I have, and was not able at all to do that in Scarlet
and Violet, yeah.
Yeah, it's very strange that their design process has them adding in all these features and then never reusing them in future games, or just waiting to reuse them, or even worse, I think worse, reusing them but like dumbing them down and reducing the functionality that they had in previous games. Because X and Y, wonderful.
Yeah.
I had no complaints about.
No, I love those games.
Even the hairstyle, because it was new. There wasn't a hairstyle that perfectly fit me because I have long curly hair, but like I didn't care because every other aspect of my trainer was customized. The boots, the shoes, the shoes, the socks, the pants, the shirt, the hat, the accessory on the hat, the backpack, like it was all customized. And so I was like, I don't care if the hair's, whatever.
Yeah.
But I love that.
Versatility.
Yeah.
What? Why are you looking at me? Can I help you?
I think that they potentially need to really buckle down on their typing advantages and disadvantages. I think...
Oh, we're swapping topics.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Go ahead. Like, what do you mean?
I think that...
I'm scared.
I think that they need to look at their type chart, and I'm probably going to get we might get a lot of flack for this from different aspects of the community, but I think they need to take a good long look at the type chart and a good long look at what different Pokemon types are, and maybe rework it a little bit, and potentially, especially, get rid of some of the typings. I think Rock and Ground, too similar in typing.
Okay, hold on. We are not Pokemon card-ing.
No. That's what I'm saying. I'm not suggesting that fighting type covers fire and ground and rock and all these other things. This idea that, like, I don't know, it's just something that sits weird with me. And I'd like for them, I don't know. And unfortunately, it's one of these things that I don't know how they would rework it necessarily, but I think that the typing needs to have a rework done to it. I'm getting glared at.
This is a hard pass for me.
Yeah?
Because I also don't know how they would fix it, so they can just leave that alone. And I don't want any more Pokemon types. We already have enough Pokemon types. I already don't remember what's effective against what. I have to look at a chart on my phone that you passive-aggressively texted me because I kept asking you, is rock good again? And you were like, girl, we got this on the internet. There's a phone next to you. Let me Google that for you.
Okay. Well,
and it was good. It's true, but it's just, it's exhausting. That's why I told you I want a physical picture of the type chart, like what used to be in the guidebooks, in the back of all the guidebooks. I want that by me at all times because I literally can't deal.
Well, then let me throw this by you. What if, I know earlier we had talked about maybe the potential to like pick your starter Pokemon, your first partner Pokemon.
Yeah.
What if we see it switch up to fire, grass, and water and not have it be fire, grass, and water? Or even better, what if they don't, there's other ways for them to teach new players about the type chart and how types function together. So what if they just get rid of that concept altogether for the beginning and not worry about your rival having a tougher or weaker Pokemon than you?
I mean, you talk about having the type chart available. Again, going back to my favorite of the recent Pokemon games, Legends Arceus actually does have it in the menu. You can pull it up.
Does it really? Mm-hmm. How do I not know that?
Yeah, it's like buried deep in there, but it is there.
Okay, I have a question for you. One of my biggest gripes about the last few Pokemon games are the maps. I think are horrendous. At least in Shield and
Sword and Shield and Scarlet and
Scarlet and Violet. I think the maps are horrible. I want a Breath of the Wild. I hate comparing it constantly, but it is my top tier for maps too. I want a Breath of the Wild map where I can filter out like Poke Centers or filter out shops or filter out, name whatever.
So you mean like the visible map, not necessarily the actual like playing area?
Not the playing area, the actual physical map.
If you needed to figure out where to go, this map is how you...
I feel like that's a Pokemon tradition, is having just terrible maps.
But yes, but when it was a simplified game, It wasn't that big of a deal because I didn't need to go to an exact latitude and longitude
Yeah,
of an area.
you were corridored in to different routes.
Yeah.
And so as
And
long
you
as you
could
knew
do it
how
by
to get
route.
to route, then you would be fine.
Well,
yeah.
then going back to basics might be helpful. But I was going to ask you, because you played Arceus more recently than me, and I'm blanking. Did Arceus have a pretty functional map? Like, was it pretty good about, like...
I mean, it is, but you can place your own markers on the map.
That's kind of nice.
And
do
there's
that.
several different options for markers that you can place. But beyond that, you're not going to find like a toggleable list of places because there's not much within the maps that you would want to go to.
Like the region.
It's no Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom map. It is much better than I think Scarlet and Violet's map and Sword and Shield's
the zooming
map.
function. Why? No offense. Maybe people like this. Why would I ever want to zoom all the way out and just see the numbers?
Mm-hmm.
Those mean nothing to me at all.
They mean the order that you beat them in. So
That's
your
even
numbers
worse.
are different than
That's
mine.
even worse because I don't remember even playing half the game because
Yeah.
I took too long in between. Anyway, that's a me problem. But if you're not going to give me a map in game, which I love that the type charts are in that game. If you are not going to fix the map, just give me a companion app on my phone. The coolest thing, and I've never played Fallout, so I'm speaking from watching other people. I know nothing about this. But one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my entire life is you could download an app on your phone or your tablet when you're playing Fallout, whatever, 3, I don't know. And you had like your map. That could be your Pokedex.
Yeah, so
Or your Rotom.
I think that this goes kind of well into Cell's mention into wanting a complete, fully accessible Pokedex, fully accessible home. They have this great app. Well, I say great. They have this really good app, Pokemon Home, that admittedly is different depending on whether or not you're using it on your phone or on the Switch.
I didn't even know you could download it on your phone.
But they have an opportunity there for you to log into it and say, I'm playing this game, and your Nintendo account is connected to it. So it should be able to know, like, oh, hey, it could potentially be able to connect in game to show you where you are on a map, to show you Pokedex information, to show you one of the most annoying things in Pokemon to me regarding the map is when I am like, oh, I want to go hunt this Pokemon, shiny hunt, or maybe grab it so I can breed it to get the best IVs. Where is it in the game? And I have to rely on that awful blocky yellow text box thing. And it's not unreliable. Like, I eventually find the Pokemon, but I would so much love more to have just like circled, like a more detailed option of saying this is where it is, and that way I can look at the phone and play on the game and go, okay, cool, I'm in the area, so now I should start finding them.
One of the things I noticed too is like there are third party apps that have that, but because they're third party, they're limited on what they can do and what they can give. So it would be nice if Pokemon would recognize that it's 2025 and give us a companion app. And then just bare minimum, if you can't, go back to what Arceus did, give us a type chart in the menu, give us a map that I can zoom in on it or filter or something to make it at all better so I know what I'm looking at. Like there's just little details that they could tweak to make it easier to function in the game is all.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we jump to the next thing, I do want to go back to the type chart.
Yeah, I am excited to talk about that type chart because
My mind is blown by this.
look, I just they're fire, grass, and water, great, right? Electric and flying, okay. A lot of the flying types, the majority of flying types are also normal type, which on some level I get for resistances purposes. Normal is only weak to fighting, but flying is also strong against fighting, so that kind of cancels each other out. But they just, let me ask you this question: name a Pokemon that you looked at and have gone, oh, that's this type, only to find out that no, it is not.
We just talked about it. We just did it today. There's 2 I can think of. Actually, we did it this week, 2 of them.
Yeah.
I could have sworn until today that Galarian Ponyta was fairy and psychic because of the coloring, because of where you find it in the game. It's not. It's just psychic. The other example that's came up recently with you and I is when we're talking about how disappointed I was that I had chosen Surskit as my water type Pokemon, assuming that Masquerain was going to be water bug or water flying, even if we have to do that, but I would have wanted it to be water bug. And it's not. It's flying. It loses the water type completely.
So, and that's kind of what I'm getting at, is like they need to reevaluate what different typing is for Pokemon, and then also what is actually effective or not effective for it, right? Which is why I suggested getting rid of Rock and Ground or combining Rock and Ground, because I do understand that like Onix is not ground because it's a bunch of boulders, but it does go through the ground. It literally travels through the ground.
It's like basically Dugtrio,
yeah,
but as a snake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so
same
it's
thing.
like that sort of thing, I think, and it would be enough of a mix-up that like apparently Legends Arceus has a type chart within the game. Include a new type chart in this game so that people can get into it and really know, like get in and study what is effective against what. They do a great job. I loved, and this is funny coming from me, the person who's been advocating for like difficulty, but I love once you battle a Pokemon now and defeat it or capture it, you can now see on your move list what is super effective and what is not super effective.
And the fact that you can see it on all of your Pokemon too, so you know which to swap to.
So like that information is still readily available, but it's just it needs to be tweaked. It needs to be thought out more. A big, for instance, that I could give is like ground type, weak against water and grass. Yep, that's true. Ice, okay. All of that stuff is like erosion. Wind erosion is a thing. Why isn't ground weak to flying? Flying is immune to ground.
Birds can't hurt the ground.
But flying doesn't cover and that's why I was saying maybe.
It's because you're killing two birds with one stone.
Oh my, no.
But flying is immune to ground.
No, but rock. Rock is good against flying.
Rock is good against flying. So yeah, I look at the type chart and it bugs me. Something about it bugs me. And I think a big part of this, a big part of this is because I've been watching a lot of competitive Pokemon. One thing that you learn watching competitive Pokemon is that, and they even talk about it, is the percentage use of Pokemon on teams and why certain Pokemon are really frequently used.
Wrecking the game.
And sometimes Meta-Knighting Pokemon from Smash Brothers Brawl. Sometimes it's because that Pokemon has like a really good move set or a really good ability, but a lot of them are the same type because they're great defensively or they're great offensively. And like Ice type is the poster child for this because they're supposed to be the glass cannons, but they are so defensively poor that their offensive power, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe you add on, like how Cell talked about adding on to shinies, a new upgraded form of shiny. Maybe you add on triple damage, or like not just super effective, but ultra effective.
And once you reach a certain level with your Pokemon, those items that increase your stats don't work.
Yeah.
Like my Espeon, my level 100 baby girl on my Violet game, there's nothing I can do to improve her anymore because anytime you use an item to improve her, it's maxed out.
And that's another thing that goes into this whole type chart conversation is I want more information around EVs and IVs within the game. They don't explain that information in the game.
Nope.
And they've started to, kind of, but they should make it so much more. I should not, talking about third-party apps, I should not have to go to, I think it's called Merylland, shout out to that website.
That's adorable.
Where to look up what Pokemon do I need to knock out to gain these EVs. That should just be on the Pokedex information.
I mean, I agree because I did not watch competitive Pokemon until you existed for me. And so I knew nothing. About, I just thought when people were competing against Pokemon, I just truly thought it was just type advantage, disadvantage, like normal, like Pokemon Stadiuming it, but competitively. And I had no idea how intensive and how many things that you had to consider. And it's a lot of information that is not taught to you in the games.
No, and like, so part of being a competitive Pokemon player means that you're figuring out like, okay, if I give my Pokemon this many special defense EVs, it can survive these attacks from these Pokemon, but only if I hit this specific number. And so any more past that is kind of a waste. But like that's where nowhere in the that's information that you have to like basically get Sherpa'd down to you from other players.
Would you, because you are more knowledgeable than I am, at least, about this, would you say that that might be part of the reason why there are only certain types of Pokemon that people use as well, is because the information out there, like the information had to come from somewhere?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think that like,
I was about to say, if I see Wolf Glick
recommend a Pokemon
succeed with something or recommend something even,
then I guarantee its
true.
usage skyrockets because the thousands of players that don't know where else to get that information from see that and go, okay, well, I'm going to use that. And that it should just be readily available. It should just be,
I agree.
There's so many aspects of the game. It's not just battle. It's not just type mechanics. Did y'all know that when breeding, if you give a Pokemon a destiny knot, you're guaranteed to get 5 values from the 2 parent Pokemon instead of just 3?
I didn't. But
Where did you know it from?
The breeding video on YouTube. Probably.
Exactly.
YouTube, yeah.
The Everstone used to pass down in nature. It doesn't say that. It just says keeps a Pokemon from evolving. It doesn't say anything about what it does in the breeding.
Yeah.
This whole other mechanic. And we need more info.
Yeah.
Treat us like we're adults playing your game. Because we are adults playing your game.
Yeah. So, and thank you for explaining that further, because I think Sel and I were still stuck on it because we're like, what do you mean? I think I think Pokemon has really changed a lot in that way of like, I should not have to be spoon fed the next step every step of the way. And let me tell you something. I know what the first thing is going to be. Well, these games are technically they are designed for kids, or at least they are designed for everybody, so kids can enjoy them too. But even when I was a kid, I was smart enough to be able to play through the original 3 gens without you hand holding everything that I do. And I think, Sel, I don't want to steal your shine, so like cut me off if I need to, but like, to your credit, like if you have to put it in there, let me as a 30 whatever year old, let me skip. I don't want 100-year introductions to games, and I don't want you to hold my hand and tell me you've never played a Pokemon game before, have you? Let me show you how to catch a Pokemon. I got that. Thank you.
Just give me the option to opt out.
Yeah. Which they did. They in Fire Red and Leaf Green, they literally say, "Do you know what a Mart is?" And I'm like, "Yep."
And then they'll let you go.
Goodbye.
In Sword and Shield, one of the coolest features that I was like, oh my God, is when you get to the point where I think her name is Sonia is like trying to teach you how to catch Pokemon. She says, she's like the stand-in professor. She says, if you've already caught Pokemon, she goes, oh, you know how to do this. And then keeps going. It's like, never mind. Amazing. Love that.
Give me information for things that are new a little bit more. Like if you throw a new gimmick in there, the sandwich making aspect of Scarlet and Violet, I
still don't know how it works.
You know this. It's too much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the only information I've learned is from you and YouTube.
I have a note in my phone that tells me exactly what sandwiches and ingredients to use to get certain powers that I know about. And other than that, I have no idea what to do. I don't have the time to experiment.
No, because there's, I don't want to say thousands. That's ridiculous. But like dozens of ingredients. Like, yeah, that's a lot. There's a lot of outcomes there. So it's like.
Well, and there's a lot of games that I want to play.
Right.
A lot of Pokemon games that I want to play.
Only Pokemon games, though. Strictly Pokemon. That's all we play on this channel. Star Pokemon Do. That's what we play.
Yeah. And it all comes back to TPCI, the Pokemon Company International. Give us options. Give us a toggle. Let us say, we've played a Pokemon game before. We know what we're doing. Get us into the story. Or let us say, I'm brand new to this series. I would like to be told how to play this game.
Yeah. I think the key takeaway here for this
Whole episode.
for this segment,
Oh, okay.
well, for the episode, we can do the episode. Is versatility is important, and the information should be available in game to an extent, but also like not if I don't want it.
Yeah.
I know you tend to play. I'm speaking to Galutrad. I know you tend to play games like where you want as little help as possible, as far as like you don't like a mini map on your games, you don't like certain things, and that's fine. But like have it toggle.
Yeah.
Versatility is what it is. I'm just gonna keep saying that word.
There's the name of the episode.
The name of the
versatility.
Versatility. That is the theme of the episode. It seems like is we just want more options.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Options for how to complete the game, how to be a Pokemon master, options for difficulty, options for where you can get your information, options for customization.
Yep.
We need an option for a third team. Team Blossom.
And on that note,
wow, it's happening.
I feel like I'm just getting
Hashtag-
sideswiped by both of the Vileplume
Aaron,
lines,
if you can
Bloom
hear me,
lines.
#Team Blossom. It's happening.
Well, this has been a fun episode.
I think it's been really there's been two things. We've gotten a little bit of venting out, a little bit of frustration out, which is good in these times. But we also there's a lot that we're hopeful for with ZA, with the next mainline game. And I know Pokemon, the company, listens to our podcast. So I'm excited to see what they do with the information we've given them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Sel, how was your first episode with us?
It was awesome. Thank you so much for having me. And for those of you that hate the sound of my voice like me, don't worry, I'm going back to Galar.
Nowhere to find you?
We're actually shipping him off on the SSN tonight.
Yep. He's going to take a round trip through Johto and then back to Galar.
Oh man, I would be so jealous of you if you went to Johto as your round trip.
Especially on the SSN. Rub the captain's back, though. He's going to get sick.
I think that's a wrap with our hopes, our dreams, our wishes. We would obviously love to hear about your dreams, your wishes, if there's anything we didn't cover, if you agree, if you disagree with what we've come to the table with today. And Sel, if they specifically love your shiny idea, can they find you anywhere on the internet?
So I don't do a lot on the internet, but I have recently picked up Blue Sky, and on there I am Cell, that's CELL 172.
Perfect. And Galutrad, if they
Our hashtag team victory bell through and through, baby. We need Pokemon victory bell.
We got Vileplume and Blossom in the same corner, and then Victory Bell over there.
Yep.
If they want to find you in order to commiserate over your type chart wishes, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me also on Blue Sky at galutrad.com. That is me. You can also check out galutrad.com, where I'm hopeful to get some more written information and news and reviews and stuff on there. Or the best place that you can find me is over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Galutrad. I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. Central Time to 8 p.m. Central Time, and then Sundays from 8 a.m. Central to 11 a.m. Central. And I've been away for a little bit just because life's been a little hectic, but fully intending to be back, and definitely be back by the time y'all are hearing this.
You can find me anywhere on the internet at Rebellity, except on Instagram, where I am I_am_Rebellity. If you want to share your thoughts on the keyword versatility, that's going to haunt me probably for the next few weeks, as Galutrad says versatility to me every time I bring anything up. And you can find us as a unit at Another PKMN Pod on any social media, X, Blue Sky, etc. And then you can find us also at our website at anotherpokemonpodcast.com, where we drop the episode, where we will eventually have blogs.
Possibly blogs from Sel. I'm not going to
yeah.
hold him to it, but we've talked about it. We have an idea.
We will be, the SSN might have
A writing
Team
desk.
Rocket on it if he doesn't agree to do the blog for us. But you can leave us comments on any of those social medias, like I said, but you can also, anywhere you can hear our voice, you can leave us reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts. Those 5-star reviews are really important. They really bring value to us as podcasts. It really helps our views. So any feedback you have, we love it. We'll read it. We're happy to receive it. And until then,
say get out, Sel.
yeah, you have to say get out.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Bye.
Check 2, 1 mic.